Now, WLOX presents the Friday Night Football Showdown Halftime Update.
Proudly sponsored by B&Bell Orthopedic Specialists and Pawpaw's Campers and Cars.
And hello everybody, welcome on in to the Friday Night Football Showdown Halftime Update. I am your host, Dylan Jones, and tonight I'll be taking you to high school football games all across the coast to get you the latest scores and updates. You can head on over to WLOX.com where you can catch all of the latest scores. If you would like to know how to get to this on your own, what you'll do is you'll make sure WLOX.com is in your URL. You'll head over to the hamburger menu, click the arrow by sports, hit scoreboard, and there you'll be able to keep up with all of these scores. We'll keep some of these updated. A few of these, however, you will see first quarter 0-0, first quarter 0-0. We got just a couple of those, and if you know the score to any of those, feel free to leave a comment down below, and we'll make sure to get those updated as soon as possible. But until then, we lead things off in Lucedale as the George County Rebels face off against the Greene County Wildcats in the Battle of the Bell. The Rebels have seen recent success against the Cats, winning 4 of the last 5 contests. They're coming off a nice win against East Central last week. As for the Wildcats, they've enjoyed a big win over West Harrison in Week 1. They have not started 2-0 since 2020. George County leads the series 24-11 all time. And as a Greene County native, I believe I'm going to plead the fifth here on reading that score out loud. It's right there. If you want to read it, not going to say it out loud though, so very sorry. This game is very close to halftime, if not already in halftime. But as you can see, George County running away with it a little bit, breaking my heart a little bit. It's okay. It's fine. It's whatever. It's always, we'll figure it out. Meanwhile, over in Hancock County, the Eagles were left licking their wounds after a narrow contest with Natchez last week. They host Moss Point Tigers, who have thumped themselves in a shutout loss to Moss Point. Pascagoula. I apologize. Yeah, Pascagoula. These teams have faced off just 3 times before, Hancock taking victory in last year's face-off. Moss Point's last win against the Eagles came in 2006. Now, as you can see, close game so far. Moss Point able to put up a score close to halftime, however, not quite able to come away with a PAT, so they do still trail by 1 point. This one fresh out of halftime. I mean, they just walked onto the field, so you can catch that over on YouTube. I believe Hancock School District is actually live streaming that one on their YouTube if you want to watch that. So now we check in with the Picayune Maroon Tide, who were just given their 3rd loss at home since 2021 by the Brandon Bulldogs. They host the North Shore Panthers out of Slidell, Louisiana, and the last time the Tide started 0-2 was in 2015, nearly a decade ago. So Picayune's Tristan Cooper gets his team on the board first in the opening frame with a touchdown run. After another score, Cooper grabs his 2nd touchdown of the night in the second quarter to take a 21-0 lead. Darrell Smith would get his 2nd up next. As you can see, Picayune taking a huge 28-0 lead there at halftime. That one also coming out of halftime here shortly. So now heading over to Pascagoula, where the Panthers caught fire last week and earned a shutout victory against Moss Point. As we just mentioned, they clashed with the East Central Hornets, who fell to George County. The last time they started 0-2 in back-to-back seasons was back in 2013 and 14. They'll look to avoid updating that stat here tonight. A rushing touchdown gives Pascagoula the early lead, but the PAT is no good after a botched snap, making it 6-0. They'd score another in the second, but fall short on yet another PAT. That is why the score is, as you see, East Central not able to put up any points in the first half. They trail 12-0 there at halftime. Now, elsewhere, the West Harrison Hurricanes hit the road into the Pine Belt as they head to Sumrall to face the Wildcats. Last week, the Canes lost their first season opener since 2021. They've played Sumrall just once before. They lost 21-27 just last season. Now, again, if you have the scores to any of these games, feel free to leave a comment down below, or you can shoot us an email, and we'll make sure to get that updated whenever. So now we check in with the Long Beach Bearcats, who picked up their 3rd season opener win in 13 years against Pass Christian. They make the trip to face Forest County Agricultural. A win would give Long Beach their first winning streak since 2018. However, they are trailing. By no means is it out of hand. Just at halftime, trailing by 2 scores, 14-3. Long Beach looking to get that 2nd win. So in Pearl River County now, the PRC Blue Devils are still searching for their first win after dropping 13-20 to the South Pike Eagles. They hope to bounce back against the South Jones Braves, who won their opener against Sumrall. PRC does lead that series 6-5, and once again, going to feel obligated. If you have the scores to any of these games, feel free to drop them down below in the comment section. 23 miles northeast of that game, the Poplarville Hornets are looking for their second win after a nail-biter 17-16 victory over Jefferson Davis County. If history is any indication whatsoever, they could well be on their way to 2-0 as they host the Stone Tomcats, who have lost 6 straight road games dating back to last year. The Hornets have won 9 out of the last 10 contests with Stone, the one loss coming in round 3 of the 2022 4A playoffs. I'm sure many people remember what an upset that was. First points in this one wouldn't come until the second quarter. Poplarville's Jeremiah Moss putting his last name to good use with a nice 5-yard touchdown grab to give the Hornets a 6-0 lead, and that would be the only score in the first half. Poplarville leading it 6-0. They have 5 straight home wins dating back to last season. And now we'll take a look at the St. Stanislaus Rocketchaws and the Bay Tigers as they clash in the battle for the Crab Trap. Last week saw the Rocks fall to Forest County while Bay thumped a Resurrection. The Rocks have dominated the Tigers over the last 11 meetings, winning 10 of those. After a scoreless second quarter, a block punt, believe it or not, is returned by a touchdown by Rocketchaw Finn Williford to take the lead. St. Stanislaus tack on another score there, 13-0 in the second quarter. If it's not in halftime yet, then it has to be getting close. Back to the Pine Belt now. The Pass Christian Pirates were 1 score away from a win over Long Beach, but fell short with a road trip to visit the Purvis Tornadoes. The Pass could be back on track as they defeated Purvis just last year by a score of 35-0, and that certainly seems to be the case here. They lead big at halftime, 34-9. So now checking in on our other 3A team, the St. Patrick Fighting Irish, off to a bumpy start after falling 14-41 against Sacred Heart. They'll get a visit from familiar foe Pope John Paul II out of Louisiana tonight. The Irish won their most recent meeting in 2019. However, Pope John Paul, they do lead that series all-time 5-3. Waiting for an update on that score as well as this one. Moving down to 1A, the Resurrection Eagles scored just 3 points last week against Bay. Tonight, they faced the Presbyterian Bobcats, a team that held themselves scoreless in 2023 with a 3-game road stretch coming up. The Eagles look to gain some momentum. And again, if you have those scores, make sure to leave a comment and give us an update. Heading back up to 7A now, the Biloxi Indians defense was on display in a 15-0 shutout against Stone. They see the Meridian Wildcats, a team that has beaten them 6 straight times. So looking for some nice, sweet revenge there. So far, close-knit game. Neither team able to capitalize on PATs. 6-6 there in the second quarter, nearing halftime in Biloxi. Meanwhile, their rival Gulfport is heading to Van Cleve to face the Bulldogs. The Admirals didn't break a sweat against Greenville Christian in the Port City Bowl last week. As for the Bulldogs, St. Martin proved to be too much. The two teams met last season, Gulfport winning 51-14. The Admirals put their 3-game road win streak on the line against the Dogs' 3-game road win streak tonight. So far, Gulfport leading it 21-0, but in all honesty, the real winners in this one are probably the Gulfport parents because they get to go home earlier than 1 o'clock in the morning. So congrats to all of the Gulfport parents. Man, can't imagine. Feel very sorry for you after last week. Looking at Ocean Springs Greyhounds now, they dropped a close one to Madison Central last week. This week, they face a high school football juggernaut. The Oak Grove Warriors, OS, won the most recent meeting in 2022. They've also won 4 straight games on the road. The Warriors have won 5 straight at home. Gulfport scores first in this one. I apologize. Ocean Springs scores first in this one. And as you can see, Oak Grove leading it 14-0 at halftime. Again, got mixed around. Whoa. Oak Grove, they lead it 14-0 halftime. There you go. It's right there. See the cursor? All right. Sick. Moving on now, we look at the Iberville as the Warriors are feeling good after beating the defending 4A South State champions in Columbia by over 30 points. Their opponent in the Gaucher Gators enjoyed a win themselves, edging out Harrison Central in overtime. Gaucher defeated the Warriors last year 41-20. Gaucher also leads the series 10-8 so far. They do trail with the Iberville getting the early one-up on them. They lead it 21-6 at halftime. And as we just mentioned, Harrison Central is 1 week removed from a heartbreaking overtime loss in Gaucher. Tonight, they'll take the trip to New Orleans to take on the Carver Collegiate Rams. The Red Rebels are 8-5 all-time against Louisiana teams. The Rams were 0-7 last season, losing 4 games via forfeit. So if you, for whatever reason, know that score, feel free to drop anything down in the comments, and we'll make sure to have that updated as soon as possible. So closing things out now, the St. Martin Yellow Jackets picked up their first win in 2 years with a win over Van Cleve. They'll visit the Petal Panthers, who gave Hattiesburg a run for their money just last week. Kevin Marshall, exceptional in St. Martin's game last week against Van Cleve. However, they do trail big here at halftime in Petal, 38-0. A lot of catching up to do out there in the Pine Belt. So once again, before we leave you, I'll make sure to show you how to do this one more time in case you don't know. Make sure you go to WLOX.com, click the hamburger menu, find the sports tab, and scroll over to the scoreboard. You can also do the same thing on our mobile app as well if you wish to keep up with the scores. And all right, so just took a little bit. She just had to get warmed up. But as you see, all the scores are there. And with that, I will make sure to leave you guys with that information. All right, so that does it for us here tonight. Make sure to tune in to WLOX, ABC, and CBS at 10:15 for all of the final scores and updates as well as highlights. So make sure to tune in then. I am Dylan Jones. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and make sure to tune in once again next week. So thank you all.
Yeah.